Let's talk about more basic
But we don't complain because we want to be dignified and to look good.
Okay, all right. So the basic needs of the population in Turkana, Baringo, and several other counties.
Will you fight for these guys as much as you're fighting for your
allowances? Of course. We are, and we will always continue to do so.
Saying that
are you doubting our commitment?
Yes.
The other day, I was actually awarded by the UN, recognized, because of my fight for the less privileged.
Yes.
Gentlemen.
Secondly, that is the reason we have been telling the government to buy maize.
Senator Cherage,
because we have maize and Kenyans are starving.
Let's be focused. There's people that are saying that in Turkana, Baringo, they had to access food despite what has been being distributed by the government. When you look at all this, it's on page 4 of the Daily Nation. What need we do? Because it appears like how many weeks into the drought? I think we've been looking at it for 3 weeks now.
2-3.
So what do we need to do to reach the last mile of drought?
Of course, we should have expected low grains, especially for us who do farming. Secondly, under Article 43, the right to food, clean and safe water, the right to live a decent life and dignity of Kenyans should always be upheld. I heard the governor of Turkana speaking that there are some people who might be taking advantage. But of course, in as much as we argue that whether philanthropist or what have you, but the biggest challenge to the county governments and the national government, because they run emergency kitty, for example, the counties have that emergency kitty, and also the national government, is that we need to be proactive. Last year, Sam, is that we had a bamba harvest in our region of 46 million bags. Even as we talk today, when you go to Matunda, Moisbridge, when you go to Eldoret, the lorries trying to deliver maize stretches to almost 5 to 10 kilometers. Yet Kenyans are suffering, maybe in Turkana, Baringo, in Tiati, and many other areas. So we need, I think the problem in this country is that we don't have a proper coordination on how to assist Kenyans who are facing hunger and drought in these areas of Turkana, in areas of Baringo, and many other areas. Therefore, I think that there should be some coordination. There is a dealing between the coordination of emergency agencies, between the county government, the national government. So our main agenda is to ensure that the country has enough food. But how to deliver to them, I wish there could be a proper coordination so that no Kenyan, to die out of hunger is one of the poorest. It is being poor, so poor, that you die. And when you die of hunger, it's so painful. It's so slow.
Of hunger?
Of course, we are waiting for the reports because the government has said, the minister in charge of devolution, CS Cecily Kariuki, CS Mwangi Kiunjuri, the CS in charge of health has told us, Madam Cecily Kariuki, that they are working on statistics to know many Kenyans who have either died of hunger or drought-related illnesses.
Speaking of Kenyans, do you think that Kenyans should contribute again as we did back in 2014 for the Kenyans for Kenya?
For me, I don't think so.
Why? Because
seeing the story that some of your Enoch Sikoli and many who went on the ground is so sad. And therefore, there is enough, and the government has said that there is enough. And I saw the hashtag Wakenya Tumechonga, something like that was trending last week. We have enough food, we have enough resources. Vice Chair Senator Isaac Mwaura, who sits in Finance Committee in the Senate, will tell you there is enough money to ensure every Kenyan does not die from hunger. The government can fund that. Speaking
of money, Honorable Isaac Mwaura, that's my next question to you. The fact that we even in this article, it's saying that Tiati Deputy County Commissioner Jacob Owori said that food is available, it's now available, but they have no funds to fuel vehicles to transport the food to the far-flung areas.
That's coordination.
Why are we doing half homework, half done?
Famine is not natural. And drought. It's a coordination failure.
Yes.
Because when you have bumper harvest in Trans Nzoia, in Kitale, that's the food basket. And then next door, in Kainuk, people are dying, in Lodwar. And the irony of it all, Turkana has more water than the rest of the country. The aquifers, both the salinated and the ones that are good for human consumption, they are there. Turkana is getting a lot of billions of shillings. I think more than 10 billion.
Yeah, more than 10 billion.
You saw the Turkana county headquarters being constructed. These monies are being diverted You hear people are owning hotels here and there. Every county gets money for emergency, and even CDF. The national budget, every year we put 5 billion for emergency. But because the challenge is that these monies are misused because people think there will be no emergency. Just the other day, the Senate, we passed the disaster risk reduction bill that now coordinates government to have one center. So the issue really is a failure of leadership, and we must say the truth. Because with all the heat, we are not even able to sleep in our houses. Who did not know that if you look at the maize, they look like onions, burnt onions in the chambers. The cows are dead. And it is actually true. Let's not lie to Kenyans. People have died because of hunger. I don't think there's anybody who can come on TV to say that my kids and kin have died just because they want to be celebrity on TV. People have died, and it's not good to deny the truth. Some of the figures may be exaggerated, but people have actually died. So the issue here is, let us not try to have the blame game, because sometimes when there is this hunger, the so-called hunger and drought, people make billions of shillings. So for the county commissioner to say that the county commissioner to say there is no fuel, it's totally out of order, because it's very easy to ask for that money from the Ministry of Interior. Yeah.
All right.
And also we know these food sometimes they actually get sold, because every time you're told ask for food, you get it, and then you find them being, bags are exchanged, and then they are sold in the market.
All right,
so there's a challenge.
Right, we need to end up because you're out of time before we take a look at the feedback. But finally, you have the final word, Mheshimiwa Oluoch. When you look at this, it shows you some counties that are not able to handle the hunger situations that they have. So what do you think we need to do to empower them so that even as they remain the primary response team, they're able to do that efficiently to avoid the kind of images that we've been seeing on TV?
First of all, I think it's an irony and an indictment on our county itself to say that Turkana is suffering from lack of food when we have oil there is really a big irony.
Yes.
Even Kivuta Kibana's Makweni, which has been celebrated as the best example of a working county, still caught up. He's invested so much and made a good case about universal health care. Yet we have people starving with food. Baringo, even though you could sympathize with Baringo, then again you go to the stories that were put yesterday about Kenyans for Kenyans money that was raised, which is really another indictment of our country, that we want to collect 1 billion. Out of that 1 billion, you saw what is left of that dam. That is in 2015 or 2014? Yes. And then in fast forward to 2022, we are losing 21 billion into corruption. Really, I think it's a big indictment on that question. So I wouldn't encourage that Red Cross goes the direction of collecting money from us, 1 billion, 2 billion, when we're losing 21 billion. The other question for me as I close is a question of the policy misdirection by government. We are in denial. The deputy president says there's no emergency, and it is as a result of categorizing this thing as such that you could have invoked NYS water boozers, and you could have invoked our Kenya Army and people to collect maize from the Rift Valley, take water down to the places that are starving. So it's really about policy misdirection. We live in denial, and the rest of the country is suffering when we have bags of maize rotting in the Rift Valley. All
right, let's take a look at what you've been saying on Twitter as well as on SMS, if we have that. Right, this is Tito Mwenda on Twitter saying that I'm surprised that Parliament is as uncomfortable as the honourable members are trying to put it. It means then Kenyans are too far from comfort.
That is true. Okay. Let's take a look at an SMS here. You don't say who you are, but you say, I wish those MPs should speak from one side when it comes to corruption, the same way they're united when it comes to their pay. If the pay is not enough, let them quit and look for better jobs. That's what normal Kenyans do when the pay is not enough. Honorable Isaac.
There's no pay.
No, they're talking about the welfare
issues.
They're talking about the housing allowance. Of course,
it's not a pay raise.
There are several interpretations to whatever it is. I want to look at someone says that. What is it? What is it? Can you remind Mwaura that a president is never elected to represent a region or a community as opposed to other oppositions? He should stop advocating for regional negotiations because this only boils down to ethnic animosity. That is Omuga from Garissa. So there's something that was siding with you, which I want to read. Someone is saying, this is Kineniwa Embu. I don't see why the media is all over MPs with this cooked news. I, as a government officer, I enjoy all these benefits. So why double standards to MPs?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Let them be treated as party
What's his
standards,
name again?
not
You
politicizing.
need to promote
Kenani.
him. What is his name?
What is his name?
That's
You should
Kineniwa
give us-
Embu.
Thank you. Yes.
Promotion.
Kapil Bariksa.
So
The bill should be on us.
So I think we're all happy, but I hope that we will do something to ensure that even as you pursue your comfort,
We also pursue
the rest of
Kenya's
Kenyans
comfort. We agree.
Yes.
With the
We
same
agree.
energy that you
That we agree
defended
on.
your salary.
We-
in love.
you
We
go
give
to answer.
our unequivocal assurance.
Assurance.
and we hope to see it not on political
Check
rallies.
on
No,
our
we
side.
do check
We've
on
done
answer.
it just now.
Just
Okay.
walk into
Yes.
parliament
All right,
and check
so